See, the point is, you don't know how much future you've got. What's gone is gone. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Some of you have had divorces. Some of you have probably had bankruptcies. Some of you have had terrible things happen in the past. But what's gone is gone. It's in the past. And to spend your time focusing on the past is to spend the only thing that you've got. And that's what's right here, right now. 'Cause the sand never stops running. This is all we've got, and to spend your time now thinking of what happened there is making absolute certain that the future is going to be the same as the past. No one has ever hurt you in the whole of your life. No event has ever upset you. This was done by you. In fact, it wasn't even done by you because we wouldn't do this deliberately. It was done by your conditioning, by your programming, by the way you looked at things and at life. That's what needs to be changed. So if people are bugging you, they're upsetting you, this is a glorious opportunity to understand yourself, understand your programming, to realize that the upset is coming not from them, but from your programming. I'm not saying don't do something. You want to do something, that's fine. But if you're doing it to relieve your negative feelings, that's awful. If you change, they would change. You're really seeing people not as they are, but as you are. So, whatever thought you send out, that's what's coming back. As a matter of fact, you send good energy out, you'll take on an equal amount of like energy simultaneously with sending it out. That's how it works. You see, as the energy flows in, it turns into whatever we decided it'll turn into. And if we're thinking good thoughts, then automatically the energy coming in becomes good thoughts. What you send out, you take on. The energy you send, you receive. You take on an equal amount of like energy simultaneously with sending it out. So your thoughts then set up your feelings. We said that attitude is thoughts, feelings, and actions. The feeling is conscious awareness of the vibration you're in. It's not just on a conscious level you're thinking. Now you've internalized those thoughts, so you put your entire being, mind, body into a vibration. Well, if that's the vibration you're in, that's the vibration you're sending out. That's what the universe is going to send back. Listen, if the whole universe works by law, you can only attract what you're in harmony with. Now, when you attract something bad, don't blame somebody else. Hey, listen, it happened. It is what it is. Give thanks for it. There's a lesson even in the bath. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you want to attract what you want, you've got to see yourself already with it. You've got to understand that you've already got it. Start to see yourself mentally. You've been given the faculties to do that. Use your imagination. See yourself already in possession of the good you desire. That will flip your mind onto a specific frequency, and you do think on frequencies. It's on that frequency that good you desire is going to start coming toward you, and you will start moving toward it. If you want to attract what you actually want, you've got to see yourself now already with it, and know it's only a period of time until you moving toward it, and it moving toward you, and you become one with it. You've got to become what you want. You've got to realize that the minute you hold your mind in harmony with the good you want, then you've already got it. It's only a period of time till it manifests in physical form. If nothing's created or destroyed, everything that is already here, our problem is we've got to wait until we see it outside before we believe we've got it. Start dealing with the non-physical world, with the invisible world, with the world that you can't see through these little peepers that you've got here we call eyes. Start to see yourself mentally. You've been given the faculties to do that. Use your imagination. See yourself already in possession of the good you desire. That will flip your mind onto a specific frequency, and you do think on frequencies. It's on that frequency that good you desire is going to start coming toward you, and you will start moving toward it. Offer your evidence of joy, look for reasons to feel good and then feel good. Don't pretend that you feel good when you don't. Look for reasons to feel good, and when you don't feel good, don't pretend that you do. Instead, make it clear to anyone who's asking, I'm not feeling very good, and I know what to do about it. I'm going to reach for better feeling thoughts until I do feel good. In other words, be real. Being real is the best way to teach. Being real and being in earnest about feeling good, being determined to come into alignment with who you are. Make a decision that you want to express as often as you can the wholeness of who you are to whoever you are interacting with. Get tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Bring yourself into alignment and then play with people. Don't move into a meeting if you're not in alignment. Get into alignment and then move into a meeting. Don't have an argument and then try to make it better within the argument. Get off to yourself and get feeling better. Tune into who you are and then in your state of alignment. I noticed that every single man or woman that I had studied who had achieved any kind of success in any field whatsoever had done it after they had made a commitment to becoming excellent in that field. I found that I never found a single person who was successful who was not excellent at what they did. That competence, the commitment to becoming excellent in your chosen field, is an indispensable prerequisite for success. That if you are not good at what you do, you haven't got a chance in our competitive society unless you win the lottery. That success is predictable. If you commit yourself to becoming excellent, it does a whole lot of other things within your mind. But if you commit yourself to becoming excellent, it changes everything about you, and only the top 5 or 10% are excellent. Consistency doesn't guarantee that you'll be successful, but not being consistent will guarantee that you won't reach success. If you go to the gym and you work out and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. And if you go to the gym the next day and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. Right? Clearly, there's no results, can't be measured, it must not be effective, so we quit, right? Or if you fundamentally believe that this is the right course of action and you stick with it, if you believe there's something there, you commit yourself to act an act of service. You commit yourself to the regime, the exercise. You can screw it up. You can eat chocolate cake one day and you can skip a day or two. You know it allows for that. But if you stick with it consistently, I'm not exactly sure what day, but I know you'll start getting into shape. I know going to the gym for 9 hours does not get you into shape. Working out every day for 20 minutes gets you into shape. It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency. First of all, this life, it's just not an easy life. This is how it starts. Nobody is being born into this world and then just gets things served on the silver tablet without doing anything. So just first of all, by readjusting the view upon this world a little bit, that sometimes you get something because you give something, and the currency that we are able to give most of the times it is lifetime. But the more skillful you become when you're learning different skills, the time you invest together with the skills you have learned are just bringing some type of output quicker into your direction because you make it in a skillful way. What is the best advice you've ever received? Years ago, my brother-in-law said, the most beautiful things occur slowly and with patience. And if you can sit there and watch the grass grow, that's pretty great. Here's the big challenge of life. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge. And of course, the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. Success is something you attract, not something you pursue. Success is looking for a good place to stay. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. Personal development, see. The major question to ask on the job is not what are you getting. The major question to ask on the job is what are you becoming. The big question is not what am I getting paid here. The big question is what am I becoming here, because true happiness is not contained in what you get. Happiness is contained in what you become. It's a very common idea, and I figured out why that is. I think so. Imagine that we already know from a clinical perspective that you know if you set out a path towards a goal which you want to do because you need a goal, and you need a path because that provides you with positive emotion, right? So you set up something as valuable, so that implies a hierarchy. You set up something as valuable, you decide that you're going to do that instead of other things, so that's kind of a sacrifice because you're sacrificing everything else to pursue that, and then you experience a fair bit of positive emotion and meaning as you watch yourself move towards the goal. And so the implication of that is that the better the goal, the more full and rich your experience is going to be when you pursue it. So that's one of the reasons reasons for developing a vision and for fleshing yourself out philosophically, because you want to aim at the highest goal that you can manage. Okay, so you do that, and then what you'll find is that as you move towards the goal, there are certain things that you have to accomplish that frighten, cause it's going to stretch you if you pursue a goal, and so that'll put you up against challenges. Okay, so all the clinical data indicates well the opposite of safe spaces, as Jonathan Haidt has been pointing out, that what you want to do when you identify something that someone is avoiding that they need to do because they're afraid you have them voluntarily confront it. I want to have this much experience and be able to do this by 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 6 months from now, and finally, that 6 months passes and there you are finally. The time passes and you have it. Finally, the time passes and the skill is now beginning to be polished, and it is so unique and effective. Achieving is an incredible source of inspiration. But the power of doing a better habit each day, or casting a little vote for that type of person, is that now you have evidence to root your belief in. Occasionally, and this is true for everybody, if you live long enough, life will come for you at some point, right? Like something's going to happen. So occasionally life will stress you. But when life doesn't challenge you, I think it's important to challenge yourself. You can decide to design something to make your good behaviors easier and your bad behaviors harder. So when it comes to habits, if you want to practice your guitar more frequently, put it right in the middle of your living room so you run across all the time. If you want to read more, when you make your bed in the morning, take the book you want to read, put it on top of the pillow. When you come back that night, pick it up, read a few pages, go to sleep. That small improvements, tiny habits, little choices are not just a cherry on top of our performance. Not just like a nice thing to have, but actually can be the key that unlocks significant success. What's interesting here is that everybody wants a transformation, right? Everybody wants a radical improvement, want rapid success, but we fail to realize that small habits and little choices are transforming us every day already. That these times when you make a choice that is slightly better, slightly worse, a little mistake or a small error, 1% better, 1% worse, that these things compound over time, and habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. And so if you can learn to master those, then you can make time work for you rather than get against you, right? Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. How much time do you waste? So then I get the class to vote. How many of you waste 10 hours a day? It's like 10% of the kids will put up their hands. It's interesting because I don't define what constitutes waste. I just ask the question, so they're diagnosing themselves, right? I'm not saying you're wasting 10 hours a day. I'm just asking. It's like given your own attitude. How much time are you wasting? So many people are waiting. You're waiting for things to be perfect. You're waiting for everyone to get themselves together. You're waiting for someone to invite you into the room. You're waiting for someone to give you a seat at the table. You're waiting for someone to validate your gift. You're waiting for someone to call your name. You're waiting for someone to give you the opportunity. You're waiting for everything to line up. You're waiting for all the situations to come together perfectly, and I'm telling you, you cannot wait. You got to start working right now. Don't wait another minute. Don't wait another moment. Now is your time. Personal success is built on the foundation of character, and character is the result of hundreds and hundreds of choices you may make that gradually turn who you are at any given moment into who you want to be. If that decision-making process is not present, you'll still be somebody, you'll still be alive, but you may have a personality rather than a character, and to me, that's something very different. Character isn't something you were born with and can't change like your fingerprints. It's something you weren't born with and that you must take responsibility for forming. There used to be a joke about football teams that lost every game. The coach would say, "We built a lot of character this year, didn't we?" As if character is something that you settle for when you haven't achieved what you really wanted or automatically develops as a result of adversity. I don't buy that. I don't think adversity by itself builds character, and I certainly don't think that success erodes it. You build character by how you respond to what happens in your life. Whether it's winning every game or losing every game or getting rich or dealing with hard times, you build character from certain qualities that you must create and diligently nurture within yourself. Just like you would plant and water a seed or gather wood to build a campfire, you've got to look for those things in your heart and in your gut. You've got to chisel away in order to find them. Just like chiseling away rock to create the sculpture that has previously existed only in the imagination. But the really amazing thing about character is that if you're sincerely committed to making yourself into the person you want to be, you'll not only create those qualities, you'll strengthen them and recreate them in abundance, even as you're drawing on them every day of your life. That's why building your character is vital. Becoming all that you can be. When you are a person of character, you know who you are and where you want to go. You've already spent a great deal of time thinking about it. You've been working on the parts of your personality that will make you better. Your attitude, your health, your time management skills. You've been putting it all down on paper, and you've developed positive self-direction. As you talk with yourself every day, how often do you ask, "Is what I am doing today getting me closer to where I want to be tomorrow?" Because here's what you don't want to ever do. Kid yourself. Kid your neighbor. And kid me in Kid Marketplace if you want to, but don't kid yourself. You can't wait around with your fingers crossed hoping you'll arrive at a good destination when you're not even headed in the right direction. You say, "Well, maybe the wind will take me." There's a chance, of course, but it's about as likely as winning the lottery. You've got to take charge. Ancient scripture says that hope, if it's delayed long enough, can make the heart sick. You've got to ask yourself often, am I performing the disciplines that are taking me in the direction that I want to go? I don't want to delude myself and think I'm on the way to financial success when that's not correct. I don't want to delude myself into thinking that someone else will take care of it. Nobody else is going to take care of it. Nobody else is going to take care of it. What if all of your negative thinking relative turned positive? What would that do for your fortune and your future? Not much. If prices came down a little, what would that do for your sophistication and your culture? Not much. If the economy gets a little better, what would that do for you? Not much. If you don't make plans of your own, you'll fit into someone else's plans, and what do you think they have planned for you? Not much. Most people wake up every morning counting on this not much list, and that's all they have. Not much hope, not much promise, not much progress. They're driving what they don't want to drive, living what they don't want to live, doing what they don't want to do. Forget the thief waiting in the alley to snatch your purse. What about the thief in your mind? He is tempting you to become lazy, not stimulated by thoughts and questions. Don't become a victim of yourself. Ask yourself these questions. Is this the direction that I want for my life? Is it someone else's direction? Is it a goal that has been ingrained in me since my childhood? Is it my parents', my spouse's, my boss, or my children's? Is it mine? Ask yourself these questions. Get into the debate of your inner mind. What am I doing? That works. What am I doing that doesn't work? Debate it all. Work with your mind to figure out the best possible direction for you. This is your self-direction. There are two parts to positive self-direction. Part one is self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is knowing who you are and what you want to do with your life. It is knowing how you feel about yourself. Self-knowledge has a lot to do with your philosophy, and your philosophy has a lot to do with shaping your attitude. It helps determine how you feel about yourself, about life, about your direction, and about others around you. You've got to gather up enough knowledge and information to know what's right for you. How do you gather up this information? Well, you can start with your own experiences. The best way to know if something works for you, to find the right way, is to do it the wrong way. You can't keep doing it the wrong way. You've got to be smart enough to say, hey, this isn't working, and change it. Start doing it the right way, then search for the knowledge and apply what's right for you to your life. Develop your own attitudes and philosophies around your own experiences and the experiences of others. Take all of the information you have gathered and compile it, consider it, debate it, tear it apart, turn it upside down, look at it from your own perspective and refine it to suit you, rearrange it, throw some of it out, keep what you think will work for you, and most importantly, make sure that what you end up doing is the product of your own conclusion. Make sure that the knowledge that you are building is your own self-knowledge. The second component of positive self-direction is preparation. Being ready for the opportunities when they show up in your life. Being ready for the sales call that make you a fortune. Being ready for the meeting that may positively affect your career. Being ready for it all in expectation. It will come. If you wish to be ruler over many, you've got to be faithful with few. If you wish to have power and influence over many, be the leader of many and get return from many. Be faithful and disciplined when there's just a few, and do it in your own enlightened self-interest, because that gives you the best chance to have power, influence, and a place of honor among the many. Be faithful when there's just a few. Someone says, if I had a big organization, I'd really be on top of things, but I've just got a few employees and I don't know where they are. Come on, when you've just got a few employees, you should know where all of them are. Let's say we were interviewing the parents of a fairly large family whose children have all grown up and gone. What if we said to them, what happened to all of your children? And they answered, I don't know, they just all wandered off. We'd ask, where did they all go? If they say, who knows? They're just all gone. We're just going to have some more. That's clearly not an acceptable attitude. If you've got a few employees, if you've got a few distributors, if you've got a few people you deal with, that's the time to sharpen your communication skills of being in touch, getting prepared, giving the most of your heart and soul in your own enlightened self-interest. Give it your all when there's a few. Be totally absorbed when there's just a few. Improve your reputation and skills so when a leadership position opens up, you'll be called. The same thing goes with your money. Someone says, oh, if I had a fortune, I'd really take good care of it, but I've only got a small paycheck and I don't know where it goes. Nobody would ever respond to the person who says, I don't know where it all goes with. Oh, we'd love to have you run our company, or you don't know where it all goes. Wow, you should be in charge of the world. Come on. If you believe that there's very little potential, how much action you going to take? Nothing, little. And when you take little potential with a little action, what kind of results do you get? Lousy little results. And when you get little results, what does that do to your belief? You go, see, I told you this was a waste of time. I told you this wouldn't work. And then what happens? You tap even less potential. You take even less action. And you get even worse results. And your belief gets even weaker. And this sucker feeds on itself until you are in a downward spiral. It's poisonous. It's poisonous and it's self-defeating. Now, what if something could happen that could come along and fill you with a sense of absolute certainty? Not like I believe, but mean where you know in you guys' case, mine as well, we knew 'cause we had to 'cause we burned boats. There was no other option. We had to find the way. We weren't going to live that way. We all did it in different ways and for different reasons, but in essence, that was it. If you get yourself in a state of certainty that this is going to work, I'm going to find a way. And if this doesn't work, I will make the way. Then you tap a lot more potential, and when you're certain in your potential, you take massive action. When you take massive action, you really believe in something, you get great results. When you get great results, your brain goes, see, I told you I was a stud. I told you this thing would work out. Now you're even stronger, you tap more potential, take greater action, greater results, and we get momentum. That's why the rich get rich and the poor get poor. Only execution matters. Burn that into your nervous system. Get a tattoo. Do whatever you need to do to remind yourself. Only execution matters. Thinking about it, feeling good about it, those are awesome. But if you have a vision of something you're trying to do, become, whatever, and you don't execute against it, and I don't need you to want to build a big business. If you tell me you want to be the greatest parent of all time, then I'm going to ask you, what are you doing to execute on that goal? What are you doing? How do you define it? What are your deliverables? What are the metrics by which you're judging yourself? And by the way, if you don't want a grand goal, you don't need one, but then say, what I'm trying to do is get centered. I'm trying to experience happiness. Even that you can begin to look at ways that you can improve that. The starting point of setting goals is for you to throw off all mental limitations and let your mind roam freely across the entire universe of possibilities. Your primary job at the beginning is to allow yourself to dream big dream and determine exactly what it is you want out of life in every area and in every dimension. Decide what's right before you decide what's possible. Imagine that you can be or have or do virtually anything that you really want to as long as you know exactly what it is. First, make up a dream list temporarily. Imagine that you have no limitations of time, money, knowledge, contacts, experience, or education. Imagine that anything that you can write down is possible for you. Remember, anything that you can clearly define and crystallize on paper is probably possible if you want it long enough and hard enough and are willing to make whatever efforts and sacrifices are necessary. There are no unrealistic goals, only unrealistic timelines. Most difficult things to do in the world is to admit that you were wrong. Admitting that you were wrong is nothing more than saying, I have been making choices with my mind that have created things in my life that are not working, and I no longer intend to continue making those choices. I was wrong. You don't have to make a declaration of it. You don't have to go out and feel guilty about it. You just simply say, it didn't work. The relationship that I was in before, I behaved in these ways. I didn't realize that it wasn't working for me. Now I do, and this is where I choose to be now. A better story is a story about how stories transform, and so those are actually perceptual frames of reference that transform. And then I understood that if you don't have respect for the transformation process above all else, then you can't transform your perceptual frames when necessary, and then you can't adapt to error, and that destroys you. We always have to update our versions about reality because it's the only way that we adapt. Don't believe everything you've read or heard. It just may not be the truth. There's always a greater truth that you and I can begin to investigate. Surely someone in eternity has had similar problem as you and I and have gotten beyond it. Yes or no? So study that person. You want to be wealthy, study wealthy people. Don't just have some panacea that you're just going to get wealthy. Read about wealthy people and find out that they lost everything and failed miserably 20, 50 times. But what they had as a characteristic, a quality in their personality, is they were persistent, and they kept changing, and they kept forgiving and letting go of the past, and kept going, and sooner or later they ran into it, And when they had all the money they wanted, it was never about the money. It was just about that they could prove to themselves that they can do it. It's a precious life. If something is precious, where do you want to invest this life into? What do you want to invest this precious life? If this is a worthless life, throw it somewhere. If this is a precious life, what do you want to invest this life into? If you look at it this way, you will find something truly worthwhile to do. And the hardest part about change is making a new choice. The moment you make a new choice, get ready, you're leaving it alone. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be unfamiliar. There's going to be some uncertainty you can't predict. You're not in the known any longer. But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it. And you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you go all out to, yes, I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation. One of the most valuable exercises you can engage in to accomplish any goal you can set for yourself is to ask yourself, what is my limiting step? What is the one factor that determines the speed at which I achieve my goal, or whether I achieve it at all? Your ability to identify your limiting step is one of the best demonstrations of your intelligence. Your capacity to eliminate this limiting step is one of the best demonstrations of your overall competence in achieving anything you want. Self-confidence is critical in studying everything that has been written or said about personal success. The conclusion I came to was that your level of self-confidence is probably the critical factor in everything you accomplish. When you have enough self-confidence, you will try almost anything because success is largely a matter of averages or probabilities. The more things you try, the more likely it is that you will achieve greatly. The same is true for you. When you set more goals, try more things, engage in more activities, and explore more opportunities, your probabilities of success increase dramatically. The only real limiting step that you might have is your level of self-confidence. When you reach the point at which you believe in yourself, absolutely the barriers that exist in your external world will not stop you. The major obstacles to success always lie within the mind of the individual. They are not contained in external circumstances, situations, or people. As soon as you win the inner battle, the outer battle seems to take care of itself. How do you infuse your whole life with the kind of self-confidence that makes everything possible for you? The answer is contained in what I call the 4Ds, which determine success in anything you really want to accomplish. The first D is desire. You must really want to become a totally self-confident human being. You must build up your desire by thinking about it and talking about it and working on it all the time. Your desire must become so intense that it overrides your fears of failure, rejection, and inferiority, and it becomes the dominant emotion governing your behaviors. Intense desire is the starting point of all personality modification and goal attainment. The second day is decision. You must make a do-or-die decision that you will go to work on yourself and keep at it until you achieve the kind of self-confidence that enables you to do, be, and say whatever you want. You must burn your mental bridges. Many people want things, but they never make the clear, unequivocal decision that they are going to do what it takes to get them. The third D is determination. Once you have started to make significant changes in the way you act, Your internal gyroscope will try to take over and bring you back into your comfort zone, into your old ways of acting. Sometimes progress will be slow, and often you will see no progress. Well, nonetheless, you must persist in the positive and constructive behaviors that you know will lead to making you into the kind of person you wish to become. Your determination must be as unshakable as the self-confidence you desire. The fourth D is discipline. Underlying and surrounding all great achievement in life is the quality of self-discipline. This is the ability to make yourself do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. Every practice of self-discipline strengthens your discipline in every other area of your life. As Napoleon Hill said after more than 20 years of research into the lives of successful men and women, self-discipline is the master key to riches. It is self-discipline that makes everything else possible. If you have the desire to change, the decisiveness to take action, the determination to persist on your forward track, and the discipline to make yourself do whatever you need to do, your self-confidence and your success are inevitable. People have enormous capabilities beyond what's commonly thought to be possible. The power to tap into our unlimited potential is directly connected to how we define reality, how we view ourselves and what believe we can achieve. No matter what is now or will occur, you can choose right this moment more empowering meanings for everything in your life. You hold the power to create a new world for yourself and those you care about. The mind shift is simple but profound. Is this the end of something wonderful or the beginning of something unpleasant? Are you being punished for your failure or rewarded for your success? The minute you decide to focus on something, you assign it a meaning and infuse it with feeling. How you define an event produces emotion and determines your inner feeling state going forward. The meaning you assign to any event, interaction, or outcome defines the emotional tone of your experience and the feelings you generate throughout your life. Meaning equals emotion, and emotion equals life. The meaning you give your experiences will always change how you feel, and the emotion you feel always becomes the quality of your life. Our memories are actually anchors to feeling states, images, sounds, and sensations. All of these aspects rely on the meaning we give to them. The meaning you attach to something produces the emotion of your life. And your emotion is your life. Meaning equals emotion. Emotion equals life. Write this down or memorize this stanza. This is the essence to the entire power of meaning. The meaning you give events, interactions, and outcomes determines how you feel. Meaning informs your emotional state. By creating a ladder of positive and empowering meanings, you effectively change the direction of your life and provide yourself rational, proven reasons your success will continue. And it all starts now with your decision to become conscious of the meanings you are constantly creating. This technique is called reframing, and it's one of the most powerful tools you can use to improve your psychology. Reframing isn't about pretending a situation is great when it may not be. Rather, it's about discovering what could be great, what you could learn by consequence, or how you can use the situation to create a better outcome. Perspective is a powerful thing. When you can reframe a particular experience or interaction, you can often change what happens as a result. Let's say, for example, your boss is always yelling at you. Human beings tend to attach certain meanings to experiences. In actuality, there may be an infinite number of ways to interpret any experience. We frame the events in our life based on the ways we've decided to perceive similar experiences in the past, forming habitual patterns we repeat throughout our entire lives. Are your patterns helping or harming you? It's vital to remember that our perceptions are creative in nature. If we define something as negative, that's the message our brain receives and responds to by creating an emotional state to reinforce that reality. The quality of your life is the quality of your communication with yourself as well as with others. Reframing is the difference between being constantly disappointed and being consistently satisfied. By stacking positive interpretations one after the other, you become the author of the success story of your own life. How would you feel at bedtime if every day turned out to be ideal, interesting, or even amazing? It's closer than you think. Start harnessing your innate ability to supercharge your emotions. Empower your decisions and elevate your life today through the power of meaning.